And we're live. Take it away, Jazz.
Oh, God. Hello. Welcome to LDUH book club. We are looking at The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is take 3 on trying to get together and actually have this hangout because A, this book takes forever to read, and B, we're just going to get organised. But we're here now. And I have no idea what this book's about, even though I read it, because I can't remember what it's about. But it was good. And I don't know really, I don't have any notes to go by. But the reason I chose this book, should I just start by why I got into it, why I chose it?
Sure.
Okay. Well, my brother sold it to me the way he explained the magic of the world. I was just I had to read it. I had to get my hands on a copy, and I did. And I blitzed through the first book, believe it or not, even though it's like 1,000 bloody pages. And I really enjoyed the world. There was so much, though. There's just so much to take in. I can't really remember. I know Kaladin is like the dark eyes, and you've got your light eyes, and that kind of is like a ranking kind of thing, isn't it, in a way?
Yep.
And that determines whether you are, a slave and like wealthy.
It's kind of high blood and low blood kind of.
Low blood, yeah.
It's like a caste system.
Oh.
So it's a racial issue in a way, isn't it? I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's also other things to
so much. Like, where do I start? Like the spren, that is really cool. I really like the idea of that, where they just kind of pop up.
Them.
Yeah. Well, the spren.
That's cool.
So when you're feeling a certain emotion, or not even an emotion, it doesn't even have to be an emotion, though, does it? It could be anything.
Mostly emotions. It was mostly like there was fear, but there was also like fire spren.
Yeah.
So some of them are like
dance around a campfire or something.
Yeah,
like an element.
Yeah, but there was also like anger ones and embarrassment ones and.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. Yeah, that was really cool. I really liked the idea of that. I was a bit thrown off with, was it Syl? Why what was she? She was a specific spren. I can't remember.
Anna.
She was, yeah.
Oh,
Anna's friend.
Ah, good one. My little one's raging. Can you hear him? Oh my God.
Appeared as a wind spren at the beginning, but she actually isn't a wind spren.
I don't know whether to mute. Yeah, but she starts to disappear when he loses his honor. I don't know why though, because I thought what he was doing, he was like kind of. If I jumped ahead, I think I have. If I jumped into another book, all right, I'm going to stop.
No, not jumped into another book, but you've jumped into the second half of the book. Like I seen, because there's
was
the
it the second half? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. When he was at the
training in the
training, yeah, when he was working as a bridgeman. That's the second half of the book.
Was it?
Yeah, the part that you're talking about, I think, is in the second book.
It is in the second book where they training in the chasm.
Yeah, no, this is after that. This is after the end of the first book. What you're talking about.
Training in the chasms in the first book.
I don't even know how to say the word.
Where did the first book ended?
Hang on. I'm in Wikipedia. Let's figure it out.
Where were we?
It's been a while.
I just opened it myself.
Well, the end of 40 hours.
I know that. So Kaladin gets Kaladin and all the bridge bearers. That's his name. Get traded for a. What are those swords called? Shard blade by.
Delana.
Thank you.
Yes.
And they're trying to work out where, like, what this new thing looks like.
The thing that is making the spren disappear is to do with the second in command guy, not second in command, but one of the other bridge crew guys and stuff that he's trying to get Kaladin to do. this ringing a bell, Jazz?
Was it Gaz?
I'm trying.
Gaz.
Jazz.
Gaz?
Oh, Gaz. No.
Gaz.
No.
Yeah, is it Gaz?
Gaz is
No,
a
No. No, it was.
Laurel.
It wasn't Gaz. It was the other guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it starts with an L. I just read it.
Oh, who had a
Lazar.
wife? No. Okay.
No. That was Rock had a wife, didn't he?
No. Oh, you mean in the crew or who were?
Lamaril.
Yeah, Lamoral. Yeah.
And he, because he noted that Kaladin.
Yeah. See, I'm afraid to say anything because I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. How about I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm going to do like a 30-second recap, which is going to sum up everything in the Wikipedia, but really fast.
Yes,
Sounds
please.
good.
Then let's go through in our traditional format and see what everybody thought
Liked
of
about
this
it.
book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
So we have points of view from Kaladin, Shallan. Oh, because
Shallan.
Shallan.
Shallan. Thank you.
I did the audio book,
I
so I
say
can tell you
Yeah,
all,
me too.
all the
Yep,
pronunciations. So she was Shallan.
Shallan, Zeth
Shallan.
Son Villano,
Yep.
and Dalinar Colin, and then several other minor characters.
I love their names.
Zeth is a person who is always bound to have a master. He's also an assassin. So we start with his journey.
The Asiatic assassin dude.
That's
Wow.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Thank you,
So,
Sarah.
and
smart.
that's kind of how we first meet Dalinar, who is, I don't think this is the right word, but basically Kingsguard. He is related to the king.
It's the king's brother.
King's
Uncle.
brother, and then the king's uncle, but he's a Kingsguard. His aim in life is to protect the king at all doubts, all moments in time. We have Kaladin, who is as we learn through the book, is a man who has tried to change his lot in life and has somehow keeps failing at that. He was the son of a doctor who was in training. Basically, there was a change of person at the person they reported to, their landowner, gentry, and they basically found themselves on the out and out because of that. And Kaladin is a very good. So he has medical training, and for some reason, and someone has reminded me, he's also an amazing warrior.
He trained to be a warrior to protect his brother.
Brother
got sent off to war.
That's right, because in the world, the gentry can choose people to to just be part of the
Yeah, so like it's like inscripted.
Is it Sidious war with the with the Pashendi?
Yeah.
So that leads us to this world that is kind of what a lot of it is happening is there's this thing of Voidbringers, which are great big. Are those the monsters that leap out of the ground and that they lay jewels? Kind of. Are those them?
No, they're the
or chasm beasts.
Yeah, they're chasm beasts.
Yeah, the Voidbringers are like a god we haven't met yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where I have to shut up because I was like, I nearly told you something there because I'd forgotten it wasn't in the first book.
We briefly meet the Voidbringers at the beginning, but it's kind of hard to tell in time. I don't remember it's in the past or the future.
I think it was the past.
They're the Knights Radiant.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So we have monsters who are, it's all amazing if you can kill one, but they also lay their eggs are jewels, as it were. So they're very prized.
They have a gem heart.
A gem heart. I knew
Yeah.
there was something
it's
in
not
there.
an egg. I know, but I thought if you...
They do have
obviously-
chrysalis as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the gem heart can basically be used to create things like food by people who can spellcast.
Yeah.
There we go. Good. And then part of and the Pashendi, who are unlike, to quote the movie, who are unlike these people. They have different. They look for something different, but they also value the gem hearts, and they seem to be in this war with them.
Well, we really don't know what they want.
No.
No,
No.
which is,
Not yet.
exactly. We're not really sure what
What we
they
know is
want.
what started the war was that they were the ones who claimed, like, that they were the ones that hired the guy to kill
The
Yeah.
first king.
the first
Yeah.
king. Like,
First
they
king, yeah.
claim, like when there's a terrorist attack and then a terrorist group goes, yeah, that was us. So that
Yeah.
was pretty much what happened, and
They hired him.
but
He
the
was an
people
interesting character.
don't know. They never say why they assassinated him, because up until that point they seemed to be like negotiating and everything seemed cool, and then they assassinated him, and then you don't ever really get told why.
Yeah, and this war with the Pashendi has been going on since the first king was assassinated. I'm guessing around 20 years, but really there's no real end to it, because they're actually seeing this as a war of sport, as opposed to a war of they don't see it as a war of attrition or a war of game.
They don't really care about winning. They just want to keep fighting over these gem hearts.
Yeah, and it's all about their honor and their pride and building up their own houses. So it's a political game, but in warfare state. Yeah, and then we have Shallan. Did I say that right, guys? I can't remember.
In the audio, they say Shalon.
Shalon. No, it's the same one as you, Shalon. Yeah, there's an A in it. I wasn't expecting the A.
See, I only listen to the audio, and because I've listened to 3 of them, all the names are like stuck in my head. And then when I read them on the page, I was like, oh, that's not how I imagined that would be spelled.
Yeah.
I say Shaylin. I don't know what. Shaylin.
Or Shaylin. Yeah, Shaylin's how I would have said it if I didn't listen to the audio. She is someone who comes from a family that is trying to, that has a lot of debt, but no one knows about the debt.
Yeah,
so she has gone off to she has hatched a plan to apprentice herself to a very powerful member of the royal family, who's an amazing soul caster, and you have a
Fabriel.
Oh,
thank you, Fabriel. You wear a instrument to help you do this. She has Shaylin has a broken one. She intends to switch it.
With Jasna.
That's Jasna. Thank you. Who is the powerful Jasna?
Yasna is how it's in the audio.
Yasna is the powerful person. She's also the sister. Here we go. She's the sister of the current king. There we go. I forgot about that.
To the king, yeah.
The interesting part of that journey is that both Shaylin, Shallan, and Jasna both discover about each other that soul casting has absolutely nothing to do with the Fabriel. It happens to be something within you, and they both discover that about each other, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I've been thinking about that, and I think it's a bit of both, because it doesn't seem to be common knowledge, and Fabriel seem to be used a fair bit. So
okay, yeah.
Does it have
a bit of both?
I think Fabriels can be used, like Fabriels are used to soul cast by people who don't have the ability to soul cast themselves.
Okay.
So they think that people who have the ability to soul cast, like they don't realize that people could have that ability. Like
whereas
Shaylin
and Kaladin have the ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems to be fairly new though, doesn't it?
As does Yasna as well, who's wearing the Fabriel to disguise that she has this within her. And Yasna, who's probably one of my favorite characters, also is an amazing scholar and is very learned and is always challenging Shaylin, which is why Shallan really struggles with her plan to deceive. Steal from her and deceive her and betray her, really. Betray her, because she's like, she's actually done so much for me, and I'm learning a shitload, and it's pretty difficult. So those are the.
Oh, it's such a good reveal though at the end, like when it all comes together, and you're just like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I just remember that.
And then, and then we've got Dalinar, who we've already talked about him briefly, but he has he's seen some things. He's kind of conflicted, and he has to deal with some younger ones who are just making dicky decisions, and his heart's in the right place, but he hasn't quite worked out the whole way to get people to he hasn't quite worked out how to inspire and influence.
Yes.
Because he's always had authority.
Yeah. Salinar's thing is he's like he grew up being the king's brother. He's like, I don't have to deal with that political shit. I just go and kill things.
That's right.
I'm just the warrior guy who drinks a lot and goes to war, and I don't have to deal with all this shit.
And he's really torn up with his brother being assassinated.
Yeah, and now he's like has to deal with all the political shit, and he's not very good at it.
But he's also become a teetotaler, like that shook him seriously.
Yeah.
And he's almost gone too far to the point that people don't feel that they can, that they don't identify with him. So,
well, they think he's mad.
Is he
I think he's
that's right. Is it he's having visions? He's having visions. All right. Okay. Cool. Okay.
That's what I said. He's seeing things.
We got there. It didn't take me. It took longer than 30 seconds, but it didn't involve me reading this incredibly long.
Well, yeah, you must be on a different page than I was on.
His brother was assassinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something triggered that kind of whole.
Yes. You will find out more about that.
Yeah.
I'm just finding out more about that now.
Which one are you? Are you reading?
I'm halfway through Radiance.
Oh, okay.
I'm up to Oathbringer, and I look at it. I'm like, I should probably read it all again just so.
Don't. You'll catch up.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Well,
it's too big to reread. You'll kind of get once you start reading, you'll start going, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And you can always go back to Wikipedia if you're like, oh, who was that character again? Go back to Wikipedia. But the one there's also that if you go to the wiki, there's actually a Cosmere wiki called Coppermind, as in you know, like from Mistborn. So if you go to Coppermind, the wiki, it's anything that you've forgotten, you can always look up the name of that character or that thing and go, oh yeah, that's right, that's the thing.
Yes,
that's much better than trying to reread the whole thing, because you would go,
because
you
there's
never
so
get it finished.
much, and they do have a lot. They've got monsters, they've got like manifested beings and stuff, and it's just kind of like, but it's all kind of intertwined. It all kind of makes fucking sense in a way. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I don't know what's going on, but it's great.
What I'm going to suggest now is, as we normally do, move through with thoughts and what we've thought about the book. But I also want to add something new, because this is such a behemoth read, and so many of us are going about it.
Yeah.
Try and recall one part of the book that you remembered that stuck with you and you loved. It may not have, like what it was that, because that's one of the things that I took away from this book, is there moments like that just stayed with me. So I presume it was the same for this group. So yeah, let's start with Mel, because she's not like,
what? She's like, I didn't read it.
And she wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't paying attention because I haven't read it, and I didn't realize how much this was going to go over my head.
Okay. Well, then next I've got Naomi.
Okay. So I really enjoyed the book. I haven't started the next one yet, but I think I will. I've got 1 credit, so I might get it on Audible. One part of the book that really did stick with me was the part where, what's his name? The Bridgeman, the main guy Bridgeman.
Kaladin.
No, not Kaladin. Oh yeah, Kaladin. Sorry. Sorry. When Kaladin was strapped to the top of the building.
Damn it!
Yeah,
and he survived
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
Just that moment of him sort of realizing, you know what, I can survive this. This is something I can do. I will survive it. I'll show them all. Just that moment. Yeah. That moment of the book. There were a bunch of moments in the book where I was like, wow. But that was the bit that stuck with me. And I got to go first, so I stole all your fun.
Yeah, I did that at PD today. I was like, I have the answer, so no one else can take it.
So yes, that's the part of the book that really stuck with me.
Yes, it was a good spot.
Nice.
Okay.
Next, Karina.
I enjoyed the second half of it. I distinctly recall going up to Ben, because I listened to the audiobook, and saying to him, when does this get good? No, not when does this get good, when does this get interesting? Because it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying it. It was that, like, there's so much world building that goes on in the first half of the book, nothing really happens to the characters. It's just establishing the characters that I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, could something please happen at some point in the next... And within, like, another hour, stuff started happening. And it was, and Naomi came up to me at the exact same point in the audiobook and was like, when does stuff start happening? I was like, you got about an hour. Because
I did. I felt like the first 15 to 20 hours was just a slog. Like,
I think it was the 22-hour mark that we both sort of went,
like,
seriously?
The first sort of half of the book, I was just like, when does it get better? And not get better, like, it wasn't bad.
When does stuff happen?
It was just so much world building, and I do understand that they need to do a lot of world building because there's a lot of characters in a lot of different places that they're trying to explain, but I'm just like, I'm done listening to this. I'm done. I don't want to anymore. I'll go listen to my Sarah J. Maas books. I'm done.
Like, I feel like I could have had a book for each character, or have the book broken up into thirds for each character, rather than having to, like, slog through that first half. Something like that, so that you're not having to sit through so much.
I just was about to kill myself with the whole Kaladin thing. I'm like, oh my God. I agree. I was like, this is just depressing. This is oh my God.
Sad. We get it. This kid has had a shit life.
Yeah, right?
So hang on. What was the thing, though, when you were like, oh, stuff is happening? What was, because I've forgotten. What was the thing that happened that made...
Was it something with the girl, I can't remember her name.
Shalon.
I thought I know that was Shalon, was where she first saw the creatures that she was ordering.
Maybe
there was a turning point there.
Or it might have been something Kaladin. I can't remember. I just remember something happens around 22 hours that I was like, oh, thank goodness. As for a moment that really sticks out to me, I couldn't pick one because I finished it 2 months ago and I have so much going on with work at the moment that I'm like, what book?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Jay?
I got the first book. Well, the first part one of the first book. And,
mine's upside down.
And I got a signed copy.
Nice.
I still remember you guys getting those.
I did not realize that this was part one of book one. So I'm reading it like this is the end of book one. And I get to the end and I'm like, what the hell? Nothing happened. Is this entire book like a fucking bookitis? You know how I hate those.
Have you got part two? Because that might be the 22 hours, G.
I went and got Audible and used my free credit for the second half of the book.
Good job.
And I did a long, long drive down south and back again and listened to all of it. And then got the second one, and now I'm halfway through the second one. So, and I think there were two bits, but you sort of mentioned the one before, the Shalon's, the first time she fell into the world.
Yeah.
That happened.
She made the blood,
didn't it?
And she made the blood and made the goblet turn into blood, and then she pretended she'd cut herself to try and cover it up. And
but the bit, and I swear it's at the very end, the very last thing, and it was Dalinar. He was having a vision, and he turned to the person in the vision and said, "Who are you?" Was that the book?
Yes, it was.
And he said, "I'm God." And I went, "What?" And then I had to go download the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. Kirsten, I think.
So I downloaded it as an audiobook and went, oh, this is going to be good value because for one credit, I'm getting like this 55-hour book and it's going to last me ages, and then, you know, good value. And then I listened to it. No, the audiobook is all one thing instead of two parts. Like,
that's good.
Novel. Oh, no, I got through it in just over a week. So if you calculate that out, it was school holidays at the time. But I literally, as soon as the kids were in bed every night, would sit and listen until about midnight while I was crocheting. And I could not stop listening. I just absolutely loved it. And then I kind of went on a Sanderson kick. And I have so after I finished that, I listened to the other two straight after it. Then I went back. I had already done Mistborn a couple of years ago when we all read it, but I hadn't done the newer Mistborn one. So I went back and listened to all the new Mistborn ones, the Alloy of Law and the couple that follow that. Then I went and listened to the Lantris. Yeah, the cowboy Mistborn, which I actually really enjoyed because I didn't think I would because I don't like cowboy type, like it's like cowboy / like investigative police work kind of crap, and that's two things I hate, but because that world is so cool and the magic system is so cool, I really loved it. And then I went and read Elantris, which is only a standalone at the moment, although I think there's another one planned, which I loved. And now I'm listening to Warbreaker, so I kind of like literally just, this was a jumping point for me to go, I need to listen to all the Sanderson things. So it must have been good for me to kind of keep going and going and going. Problem is now I'm like, I can't keep anything straight in my head because it's just all in a row.
They're all one book now.
So the thing that stands out to me most is more Kaladin as a character than an event. Like the event with him being out in the storm was one, but also I really enjoyed him and the bridge crew when they start sort of coming to listen to him and stuff, and he starts training them. And the thing that I love is them sitting around and Rock, is it Rock? Making the stew.
Yeah.
Making the stew, and they're all sitting there having the stew and stuff, and I just really liked it. Probably, and maybe I don't know if that's that same point, that 20-something hour point, because I don't know how long it was that we followed him where he was in the cage in the back of the
around the
wagon, and
which is about halfway, is when he gets left out in the storm. And
okay.
So that is the point of which I was like, okay, things are starting to happen in world building.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was just doing. I muted myself so I could listen to it and see where around the 22-hour mark it is. And it's when he gets strapped out in the storm.
Ah, okay.
Because that's when things start changing. That's when the bridge crew starts listening to him and they start actually working together.
That's when the end of part one.
Yeah, he starts getting powers and you start going, ooh, he can actually do some pretty cool stuff.
And not just that, but like stuff is happening with Yasna and
Shalom. Yep.
And things are happening with like the king, and like things are actually starting to happen in all sections.
Yeah, momentum.
So yes, that was that mark where that both of us sort of found that stuff started to happen, was really perked up.
Excellent. Kirsten, so anything else?
Sorry.
No, that was good. Thanks, Naomi. That was good. It makes sense.
Sorry, what did you say?
Anything else?
No. I'm sure I'll have other things to say when we get into the nitty-gritty, but yeah, I can't think of anything in particular that stood out other than him being out in the storm and just that whole...
The bridge crew being around the fire. It was a gorgeous moment.
And they had that whole... Which was... What was the salute? Was kind of like this or something? I don't know, because it's described in book and not actually you can see it, but they were like had this Bridge 4 salute, and they were... I liked Bridge 4 as a crew. I thought that was really cool. But
cool.
Yes. Anyway.
Hi. Okay, so this is my first one, and I'm making the worst impression ever because I haven't read this book. I jumped in because I'm like, this year I'm here for this. I've read other Sanderson stuff, and I've listened to him give enough talks that I'm more interested, I think, tonight in hearing how everyone's reading into it with the whole, he took ever to get past the world building. And I find that hilarious because he tells everyone, don't do that, but yet he does it anyway. And sorry, I'm more here to observe, but it's fun anyway, and I will be more on it for next. Yeah.
We're totally going to spoil it for you.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just going to say that.
Sorry, I don't mind. If that was the problem, I wouldn't be here. So.
I don't see. It's not spoiling anything for me, just purely because there's so much. Nothing is hitting. It can't stick in my brain.
Yeah.
Also, for all I know, since I can't remember anything, we'll get it wrong, and I'll go back and read and go, what? That's not what they said happened, and then I'll have to come back in.
We'll just throw a few red herrings in there for you.
Jazz?
Mine was the bridge crew. When they realised there was something really special about him. Like he didn't ever give up. He just made him work harder. train every day, and Gaz was always like, what the fuck are they doing? You know, but he did it anyway. And you're right, they were like a band of brothers, and their friendship was lovely, and really lovely to see them grow and get along, and you know, from
Die together.
and from not really liking each other and not trusting him to actually really trusting this guy who's got your back. You know, even though bridge crews.
It's interesting that the bridge crews are just men. Like, what happens to the women of that sort of cast? Like
was it mentioned? I can't remember. I'm just
I don't think that would last. I think they'd probably.
Yeah, like I don't. That's the thing. It's never mentioned what they do, but it's interesting because I mean, yes, a lot of women wouldn't be able to do it the same way men can because men have obviously like their different physiology, but some women would be able to. Like I was really interested to see what was going on with those, because some of those guys have said that they have wives and family. Where are they? What are they doing? That sort of thing.
Probably the town at the wherever they were residing, and they would be seen to the bright-eyed women as like their servants or something.
I was just going to say, these guys are all slaves, and they're all been either sold into slavery because of debt or because of a crime they've committed.
Yeah.
To be honest, my guess would be that if a woman was in that situation, sold into slavery, she'd probably be a prostitute.
Yeah, and there were definitely prostitutes in the town. There were, as we discovered, like that. These towns were set up like movable. You know, they had all the things like the West, right? You had a saloon and you had a place to try and get medical supplies and a place to get booze and a place to, you know, and there were definitely prostitutes there. But there were also people who would clean stuff, you know, so there was definitely a lot. So I enjoyed it. I agree. It was a hard slog to begin with. And I was an audiobook, so, and I'm running at 1.25. I think I agree that it kind of like if a book of thirds could have been interesting, like, you know, staying with each character, because I would be sometimes with Kaladin and I'd be like, I wanted to know more about Shalon and Yasna, because I was like, she's getting on with that. It's such an interesting world. It's academia. I loved hearing about the library, and you know, I just want to be over there. I don't want to be in the Bridge Crew in the depressing part of the land. I just want to be here there. There were, but this stood out for me is where Kaladin meets Wit playing his pipes. Because that's where the quote, you know, where it comes journey before destination, where Wit explains like around, like he tells a story, but it's also, and he talks about we are, you know, we're actually I wrote the quote down. Because I'm so good. It's because I love it so much. So it's two things, he says. So he says, you know, sometimes the prize is not worth the costs. The means by which we achieve victory are as important as the victory itself. I'm pretty sure Wit talked about that. And the other thing that Wit said, which I really love, is he says, the purpose of a storyteller is not to tell you how to think, but to give you questions to think upon. Which I loved. And then the final bit, which is just which is an extension, is does the destination matter, or is it the path taken? We are not creatures of destinations. It is the journey that shapes us, which I thought was so important, because it's like we tell stories about the journey, not about where we, you know, not about where we
plan to be.
Were.
We never really know.
So it's definitely what talks about this. So that's why that whole scene where he's basically communicating with Kaladin and they're having a back and forth, and also this is kind of insight into that Wit is not what you think he is, you know.
No, he's not.
There's so much going on. And I quite liked his jokes. I thought they were funny. I was cackling away. So I love that.
I don't know if this is really spoilery, because I didn't know it until I went and looked at the wiki thing. But he is a character that's in all of the different
I was going to say Kirsten.
But he has a different name in all of them.
He reminds me of the Fool from Robin Hobb's book.
He does remind me of the Fool
all
too.
of them as well. So it's kind of like and he's the
but
same kind of character,
like,
is he kind of like a bard,
knowing all, like prophetizing
so
kind
what
of
is
character.
he? Sorry, he's in all of the worlds, all the books.
Yeah, and he has different names.
So he was in Mistborn.
Yes, apparently.
Oh,
I don't remember
okay.
him in Mistborn at all.
No,
but
I don't remember that either.
Maybe he's
I'm
the
trying to
god.
find it.
Mm.
I'm trying to find it. Now I'm getting confused.
Anyway, so that anyway, I just was sharing that part.
Maybe he's not in Mistborn. Maybe I'm getting.
That's the only other Brandon Sanderson one's friend is Mistborn.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out. He's definitely in the one that I'm reading right now because I was like, hang on a second, and that's why I actually went to this thing to look it up. I was like, hang on a minute, this guy seems really familiar, a different name, but he was telling a story, and he's doing this thing with sand while he's telling the story, and I'm like, this dude is really familiar. And then I looked him up, and I'm like, oh, okay, it is the same guy. So his name is Hoyd.
Hoyd, yeah.
Hoyd, yeah. Yeah, Hoyd the Drifter and
Did he say he had many names though?
He did, yeah.
I like that. I like that kind of little jumping character from book to book. That's so cool. That's clever.
Yeah. So one of the things that what struck me is there's all these like little stories, and I didn't know what to make of them. I mean, some people have read ahead, but I enjoyed some of them. I enjoyed. So, for instance, there was we talked Kalak, I think the name was at the beginning, was one of the 10 heralds of the Almighty. His viewpoint character is the prelude, which takes place 4,500 years before the events of the first chapter. So that's where we're talking about the gods, and these were the gods that were dead
and the radiant, the night radiant.
Okay, so Hoyd is in the Mistborn books. There's a whole bit in the wiki about his whole, and I've forgotten the Mistborn books almost completely, except the newer ones. But yeah, it says Kelsier, pretending to be a nobleman, contacted Hoyd requesting information about House Renault. Hoyd met with Kelsier, blah blah blah. And then it says later, Hoyd was transitioned through the well and stole the bread of Lysarium from the adjacent room. He later ate Lysarium and became a Mistborn. Like, we've all read this, and I do not remember any of this.
Wait, what?
That is not a thing that I remember.
No, I don't remember that either.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe this is like in one of the...
Well, but I haven't read more.
Maybe it's in one of like 4, 5, or 6.
Maybe this is in one of the novellas that I haven't read, and I've spoiled everybody, including myself. I shouldn't get on Wikipedia. It'll probably be the same thing, though. By the time I get to read whatever novella it is, I'll have totally forgotten all of what I just said, because I pretty much couldn't repeat it to you right now anyway.
Exactly.
Sorry, we've got a Trixie at the door because it's open with the grill. And she keeps just pressing her face against it, going, "Can I see the other cat? Can I see it?" Mostly because she wants to slap her.
Oh.
Not cute.
No, she's a bully.
Do we want to continue on the series? Because
I'm going to try.
Okay.
It may take me a few months, but I'm going to try.
Well, that's okay. My pick is not till September. Yeah, Mel?
I have 48.
I can check.
It may be better to not do it as an official pick and just kind of go, anyone who wants to finish the series, keep reading, and then let us know when everyone who wants to do it is done, and then we'll get together and talk, because I think it's too hard to schedule this one because it's so long, especially if we're going to read 3, like the other 2.
Yeah, and I think... And everything that's popping into my head is really in the second one, and I just don't want to. That's why I haven't talked much. I'm like, and this happened. I'm like, no, that was the second one.
Yeah, me too.
And it. Oh no, nope, don't mention that.
Jazz, yes, you are September.
So much better, as well. Like I know there's so much world building in the first, but to be honest, I love that. I thrive on it. Everyone gets bored. I'm like, no.
I like it too. I like it too. I will admit. Book 2 I liked better than book 1. Book 3 I did not like as much. But
I'm book 2.
Not that I didn't like it, but I definitely liked book 2 more than I liked book 3.
So let's talk about a bit of the world building. I've got a few things I want to throw out, see what people think. What do people think about the whole safe hand thing.
No, I thought it was quite an interesting. He always has these interesting little cultural things.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it because I don't know why.
It kind of reminded me of like Muslim women wearing like a hijab or something like that. Like it's a kind of religious thing that, because other people from other parts of that world were like, "What's wrong with you? Why do you do that?" Like,
yeah, there was the interlude with Roshan, I think, who was learning Roshan. She was an apprentice merchant.
Oh yes,
and she needs her hands, so she couldn't quite get it.
Yeah.
I personally, I liked it as part of the world building, and I think it's answered one of those questions about women and bridge crews and their place in the world. I think it is definitely a way of like differentiating what the roles are. You are a man, you get to do these things. You're a woman, you get to do these things. However,
I forgot about that.
I did think it was really interesting that the women became the they were the ones who read. They were
I thought that was funny. That they
were the academics.
I like,
and I thought that was cool because I was pissed off about the safe hand thing, and then I was like, "Oh no, you're bringing it back around here, Sanderson." Okay, it's like there's a handicap on both sides. It was really interesting.
I thought it was interesting that the food, like men's food, is spicy, and women's food is really delicate, and like they even eat separately because there's men's food and women's food. Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting idea.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Oh, really? Maybe that was in one of the later books. How did that? See, that seems to me like a major world-building thing.
That happened. There was a party because didn't he?
Yeah, there was a party when he was before he was kind of talking to that dickhead guy.
Yeah, and then Whit was there, and then he had to talk to his sister-in-law, who he's actually in love with, and it was all awkward.
Navani.
He totally wants to bang him.
There was banging going on.
She was married to his brother, the old king, who was assassinated, but they'd been in love for years ever since.
But it's really, we can't be together because that would be unseemly.
And then there was like a conversation with Alakar, who's the son of Navani, later on, like, "Hey, have you noticed that Mum's acting a little bit this way towards you?" And he's like, "Oh, well, yeah, actually, we're doing it."
And it was funny because he was like, "I'm the king. Am I supposed to stand for this?" And they were like, "Yeah." What are you going to do about it?
What's the son's name again? I can't remember.
Elakar is the son.
Elakar? No, Alakar's the name of the world.
That's Alakar.
Oh, for God's sake.
I only know this
Alakar
because Wikipedia. I looked at the Wikipedia this afternoon and I was like, oh, yes, that's right. And that's the only reason I remember. Alakar's
right.
And Elokar with an E and Alakar with an A. But who's the son? What's Dalinar's son's name again? Because he is Adolin. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's a shard bearer, is that right?
Yeah.
And he has a shard armor, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But he has the sword and the armor. He's got both.
He's got two sons, and one of them is.
Oh yes, I forgot about
one of them. Yeah.
One has epilepsy.
The other one's name.
That's
that's what I reckon it must be, because they'll be like he has these moments where he just like blanks out and can't move and stuff, and I'm like, he has epilepsy. Yeah. They just don't know a word for that, and they're like, well, he can't fight in the battles and stuff because he might like blank out in the middle of the battle and get killed.
Yeah.
Does he have the same thing as his father?
No, it's not.
Okay. But
he's very concerned about it was because they kept saying, oh, he's not weak, but he's of a weak constitution, and that it didn't, but they acted like because he had epilepsy that everything to do with like his emotional state was, it was like everything about him, and I didn't get the feeling. I got the feeling that actually he was much more considered and much more empathetic, which possibly wasn't.
He was scholarly, so they framed him as scholarly over
and scholarly.
you know.
Scholarly, don't forget, is the female
But
thing.
he was a prince as well, so he shouldn't have been that way. He should have been princely, right?
Yeah.
Like high prince.
And probably next to his brother, because his brother was like the man. His brother is very
Ladies'
Gowan
man.
Irish. Like,
Yeah.
well, yes, that too, the ladies' man. But he's also like, you know, exactly what a man, you know, they thought that a man should be. So his brother next to him would always be like second best. They go into more of that, I think. I don't know if it was in this book, but like
But
they
his
do
brother
go into
loved
more
him
of it in
very
the second
much.
one.
They had a relationship. Like his brother,
Yeah.
I don't think ever made him feel
yes.
less.
I actually love that about those two.
They
because
were
even
very
though-
close.
Yeah,
Very
even
close.
though like everyone else treated the brother like he wasn't as good as his other brother. I keep forgetting their names.
That will do.
But they don't have the brother here. It's really
he
annoying.
wasn't like that to him.
Adolin
Like,
here.
Adolin and Alakar.
well, so Adolin wasn't like bullying to his brother because his brother was weaker or ever treat his brother. But Adolin's very like, I'm trying to think of an example. He's like the goodest good guy, you know, like he's like a Mary Sue, but a guy. Is there a name for a Mary Sue?
Gary Stu.
Yeah, he's very
Because he's good at everything. He's good looking.
yeah.
And to own like shard armor, obviously it's
His other
it's
son,
passed down
Bernard.
though, isn't it? In the
That's
like
his name.
No, you have to win it from another person, I think, as well. You can inherit it or you can win it.
Yes.
Or get it traded, as is the case with what did we think about some of the magic? I loved the bit where they had the two pens in sync. So as someone was writing the other, that was cool. Is there any other magic points of the world that stood out to other people?
The magic that they had at like wherever they went to do that trading in one of the interludes, like a place out to the west.
With the chickens, the whole conversation about the chickens. Yeah, see, I remember that.
Yeah, like just their way of like using shard magic and soul casting and stuff was so different to how it seemed to be used in Alfgar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just interesting the way that different people use the same sort of magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who live in the water.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we have them here. Ishik, a fisherman from the Pure Lake.
Which I don't know what it was really about. Like, I don't know what that was doing. Like, there were people looking for someone.
Yeah, well, it says here there were three strangers who he calls Grump, Thinker, and Blunt. They are using him as an agent to find a man called Hoyd.
Ah, see? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time, I'm just like, I don't care about this bit. I hope this goes away. Because you don't understand that which is Hoyd. That's the thing. You're who is this Hoyd character? Why do I care about him?
Like, and it's very like, I need to go back and reread this 3 times to pick up on all these little bits because I'd forgotten about that bit completely.
Sorry. What do we think about the high storms?
I'm going to ask that. And the whole, you put like spheres and
Storm
charging
cover.
up your weapons. And
I love that.
Yeah.
So good. What are they called? The orbs?
High storms, right?
High storms.
No, the orbs, they're like
spheres.
They're just spheres, and then they're different.
Spheres. You got to charge with spheres.
But
and they're also the money.
Well.
Yeah. And depending on how brightly they glowed, and they used them. There was that bit in the library, you know, and she'd use the diamond ones, which weren't worth as much to light. In the bowls.
Yeah.
That was really beautiful.
I love that, and that I just was so immersed in that whole world when that was going on. And the high storm, like I love fucking storms. Like, give me a thunderstorm every day, and I'm just like I can just imagine this big storm rolling in, and you all have to bunker down. You know when it's happening. Do you? Is it kind of like when
they have charts where they can predict it, kind of like tides.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. And there was that bit. Didn't they have a bit that? And that was what the guy who was a fishing guy is like. He was so far out west or east, that by the time the storm got to them, it was a lot less powerful. Like they didn't know where they originated, but as they blew across the land, they would kind of not be as bad.
Yeah, because their lands were obviously green. They had grasses and trees and stuff.
That's right. Yes.
Survive in the lands that get high storms because the high storms basically kill off all the grass and most of the trees, unless they're those kinds that sort of suck down into the rocks. And that's something that those traders mentioned, that they were like, it's so weird. Like, what is
your
this
grass doesn't move? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is
because the high storms weren't as strong by the time it got to there. I think it is the west. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. But like, but by the time it gets there, it's so weakened by sort of hitting the land for so long that it's just like a regular storm.
Where am I supposed to put my feet?
Like,
kids are going off their own, yeah.
Matt, no, he's getting the kids with me because my feet are making too much noise because I've got them on top of a plastic box and it's making noise when I move them, and he's getting shits with me. He's like,
guys, I'm just going to interrupt for a second. Everybody wave to Kim. She's watching.
hi. Hope you feel better.
Hope you feel better. I hope it gets cooler.
Oh,
I hope your aircon's working.
Yeah.
The high storms. Yeah, I've forgotten how much they affect everything. Like you said, like they kill things off. I completely forgotten that bit until you said it's weird, like not to see the grass moving, like because it's all just still. Whereas in the other area, it would have to move.
They're all like rock,
and it would hide, and then they would come out.
That is so
cool. Yeah,
like they're so used to their grass. Like as you get close to it, it'll pull away and hides away because it needs to. That's the kind of sort of that's what it's developed because it gets affected by the storm. But
so cool. I completely forgot about that.
Did Kaladin hear a voice in the storm when he was strung up?
Yeah.
I think he had a face in his face, didn't he?
Yeah, it had a face.
I was having
what was his name?
To the Earth, Shattered Earth series that we just did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell my ball.
With the angry Earth.
Yeah.
I was like, just flashing to that. I'm like, that's alive. It's alive like the Earth was alive in that last series.
You get a lot more about that in the next couple of books.
It reminded me of that bit, and G will remember this because I know it's one of her favorite books. What's the book where?
Kushu.
Sorry?
Kushu.
Yes, I knew
the
you'd
Master
remember.
of the Straits. I know what you're talking about already.
When she's on the boat, and I knew you'd remember. And she has that argument with the
goes like that.
No spoilers.
It's the same thing. Jazz is like Mel said. Like it won't. It's too much. Unless you've actually read it, you won't know what the hell they're talking about anyway.
I started, and then I realized I needed a dictionary.
I just wondered, if you'd had exactly that same reaction of going, this feels awfully familiar.
And see, I was like that with Wit being very much like the fool from the Robin Hobb books. So I was like, man, especially Wit, like, he's very, like, putting shit on people all the time and...
But that's what
that's saying all these
did.
Like he's the smartest person in the room, and he's saying shit that's going over everyone else's heads. And
that
stuff.
meeting with Kaladin, there was something he said that changed Kaladin's mind.
Yeah,
and it was like it was really kind of blasé whatever he said, and Kaladin didn't think too much of it at the time either. But it was a really important decision that he made at that time. And that's the kind of thing the Fool was doing as well. He was very prophetic and would know which points in time to influence and make
that was his basic thing. Was he was like, I'm pushing Fitz in the directions he needs to go to do what I want him to make this world happen, this prophecy happen. So I'm gonna just shove him in these little directions. And I was like the same. I was like, this is like the same thing.
He's like, I've got to go do something. And we're like, what are you doing? Where is he now?
Yeah.
So you're saying Brandon Sanderson is taking notes from Robin Hobb?
I think it's one of those journey
It's
epic
maybe just
fantasy tropes.
I was
almost.
just going to say that. It's a
I
trope.
was going to say it probably comes from Greek mythology, and we don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also just be a bit of an homage to him as well. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, to her, sorry.
I was going to say, did you
Sorry.
call
I
Robin
do
Hobb
know
a
that
red?
Robin Hobb is, yeah, I did. Sorry.
I first meant him as in the Fool, but then you probably could do the same thing with that because it's like,
And
do we know the Fool's gender? I don't think we do.
No, we don't.
I've read like what, 15 books or something, and I still don't know his gender.
Nope.
Hey, look, I didn't know Macapaka's gender for a long time, so, you know. The parents in the group got that one.
I did.
Where's
I was like,
well, hang on a second. Now I'm curious. Do you now know Macapaka's gender?
Yeah, unfortunately, they did start referring to him as him, but it took like a long time before it came up because I was like, oh, I love it. This is a genderless character. Woohoo!
See, the Fool is kind of interesting because, like, when he's the Fool, he's he. When he's Amber, he's she, and he can go from Fool to Amber in like 5 minutes space of time, and it's like he's or she's. Hang on, okay, I'm sure. Stop it. I'm drinking wine and now I'm doing bad things. Shush. Stop.
Well, I think
I keep forgetting that everybody hasn't read what I've read. I'm sorry.
I think that particular character, they sort of put themselves out as a he when they are the Fool. Like that's the image that they're putting across. But when they are Amber, they're like, I am a girl now, or I'm female now, and that's the image that they put across. And I think for them, it's just two separate parts of themselves, and it doesn't matter whether they're a female or male body type. They just have two parts of themselves. One of them is more masculine and another is more feminine.
Yes, definitely, because it's not like a persona that the Fool isn't putting on a persona to be Amber. Amber is the Fool, and the Fool is Amber, and
they are the same person.
It's not like acting.
No, it's just that it's a different part of their personality. Like one part of their personality is more feminine, and a different part is more masculine. And like everyone does have different parts of their personality that would be described as more masculine or more feminine, but most of the time it's not that big of a difference. Like most of the time,
but some people will bring that aspect out more than others. Like if I'm around certain friends that I grew up around, I can be the bogan comes out strong, and then when I'm around like my in-laws and stuff, my conservative, you know,
and that's what I mean. Like depending on who you're around or how you're feeling will depend on the kind of person that you're being. And for most people, their more masculine side and more feminine side will be closer to the gender that they are. But that's not always the case. It can be opposite. It can be either. Like, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a part of your personality that is very, very masculine and then another part that is more feminine, because they're both you, and that neither of them is a lie and neither of them is acting.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Most people are like that. Call themselves gender fluid.
Yes. And I mean, like, it may just like, and I mean, in the case of Wit, I think that he is a he because that's how he wants to be perceived, but it doesn't.
You mean the Fool or Wit? Because that's two different. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean Wit. I know that
I don't think Wit has presented as female in any of the books. But
not that I know of. But what I'm saying is that he has separate personalities that he presents. And they are still him. They're just different parts of himself. Like, it doesn't, like, whether he's being Wit or whether he's being Hoyd, like, they are still.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I think the Fool is a little bit more complicated than that, but I can't really tell you why unless you've read the last 3 books, so.
But that's not the discussion for today.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think the thing is with Wit is when he is Wit, that is his job, and you know I think we've all got that, right? You have to put on a certain persona, or things are expected of you. And when Kaladin meets actually Hoyd, it's someone who is a more of a story. Like, look, my natural, you've met me as me. I've got that aspect, so I will always be a little bit, pokey. But I'm not being paid right now to be an asshole. That's what's expected of me in there. But out here, I want to pay my pipes and maybe have a little bit of an influential storytelling conversation.
Oh, I just had that moment where I remember the character. I remember him.
He did a thing with Smoke.
Annoying. He annoyed me.
Oh, yeah, the thing with Smoke was cool.
And see, that's why I was like, hang on, is this the same guy? Because in the book that I'm halfway through now, there's this guy who comes along and tells his story, and it's not Smoke, but he's got sand. He's got all these pockets, and he gets a bit of different coloured sand that he sprinkles as he's telling his story. And I'm like, this whole thing seems really similar to something else I've read. And then I went and Googled it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going crazy.
Right.
He hasn't just used the trope in this book that he used in the last book because he ran out of ideas. It's actually
the same
character. Yeah.
It's clever the way he does.
It's clever.
He must have like a huge wall, just like intertwining different characters.
Yeah, let's talk about the assassin.
Oh, yeah.
Zeph.
Yeah. Zeph
Milano.
He's really interesting.
He had
but I can't remember what parts of his story are in the first book.
I'm finding him more and more interesting right now.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm
finding him. He's such a tragic character because his calling, and that he has to be tied to a master, but they all want him to do murder, and he hates that, and he hates living with himself. Yeah, it's awful. I mean,
What about the sword?
Honor blade.
His sword? Yeah, okay, here he is, a bearer of an honor blade and wielder of stormlight, which was cool, like that,
Yeah, he knows how
the way he explains lashing light to things was very much like the.
I'm so glad you brought up the lashing. Oh my god.
Other one.
Where turn things around.
Mistborn.
Yeah. Yes,
very
it
much
is.
like Mistborn.
It was. Yes. I thought that too. I was like,
and sticks it on and use
Well, there's always a counter. You can't do something without consequence.
Yeah.
Like gravity changes. You're gonna it's fucking so good. He writes it so
and
well.
energy has to be pulled from somewhere, and it will be expended, which was is cool. Which I liked and that's the thing. Like I bang on about it, but I'm like the Mistborn magic system is just so good that it feels like science, that we just don't live in that world, because it's so I go, this makes total sense, because it's all energy and you burn different things to get different types of energy. That makes sense.
Does Brandon Sanderson have like a PhD in physics or anything? Or
I don't know, but he seems to get
he understands the concept of a lot of things.
Oh, sorry, hang on.
That again?
Barbara, what are you saying?
Sorry, he's got a PhD in English literature or in English and creative writing, but he doesn't have one in physics or anything like that.
I thought I read he has something in biology. Maybe I'm wrong.
He created Sanderson's law of magic and popularized terms like hard magic and soft magic systems.
He
just wondering
just the details of things
Robert
like
Jordan's Wheel of Time series.
Yeah. Like the lashings, and it's like it's not just he can lash, he can pull towards this and pull towards that or whatever. It's like, I want to go up into the air, and now that. So it's like a quarter lashing, and then or it's like a half lashing or something and then in the Mistborn ones it's the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you can push against this metal, but if you are not in the right spot, you're going to go that way instead of going straight up because you're not at the right angle of pushing on. All these little details that he puts in.
The trajectory has to be right.
Yeah,
the force has to be right. Yeah,
I just love it.
It's like playing pool.
Yeah.
It's like playing pool. I played pool. I love pool.
Yeah.
What else was I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
You were talking about the lashings. You were saying you were glad that G brought up the lashings.
Yeah, like I forgot the that was what you're introduced in at the start of the book, like how the magic is first displayed, and he's turning shit, but like
he was making
like
the
he would
arrows bend around him. Remember, they were like, how come he never gets? He's always at the front of the bridge crew, but he never gets hit by an arrow. Why
Wasn't
is
he glowing at one point?
Yeah, he was glowing.
That's
and
right.
Subconsciously, he doesn't even know he's doing it.
He doesn't.
He's, like,
he just thinks
bending all the arrows away from himself, and then consequently his crew as well.
Yeah. He's a bit daft if you think about it. Like, come on, you're not dying. Everyone else is falling like flies around you. But no, because he's at the front, no one's focusing, obviously, because everyone's doing a job. So that you can't really look forward, can you? You got to just listen to your commander, which is Kaladin. You know,
well, and they've got kind of the bridge
to the side,
right.
and then he uses the shield. So I guess they can't really see what he's doing. They just think he's kind of owns his shit, which he does. Yeah,
I remember the first
kind
one.
of works that way as well. She does it by instinct.
Yes. The very first time, she didn't even really know what she'd done.
They've got different types, though. Have you noticed?
Oh, my God.
And that comes into it a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Still.
The Honor Sprint.
Honor Sprint.
Yeah.
Has Shalon seen Pattern yet?
Sorry about that.
That's what I wasn't sure about. I couldn't remember about Pattern. She sees the shapes, the dudes with the things on their like shape head.
And does she fall into the world?
She falls into the world, yes.
And everything comes apart in like marbles and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they ask her what she is. They say, "What are you?"
Yeah, right.
To her. And she's like, "What do you mean, what am I? What are you?" kind of thing, yeah.
And she was drowning. She was drowning.
She was drowning, and I think, wasn't there a fire or something? Fire, and she managed to do something with the fire. Maybe I'm imagining.
If there is, I don't remember.
That was really cool how she could pull out like marbles, and each of the marbles had like a sense of what they were.
Yeah,
so
like this one was a stick, and this one was like,
Oh my God, it's like the Matrix.
It is. It is.
It's like
I don't want to go into it anymore.
I don't want to go.
I was just going to say, you do find out more. I don't know if that's really spoilering. I'm just kind of giving you hope that you're not just going to be like, I'm going to be confused forever. You do kind of get more of an explanation.
Did she, when she went into that world, this is like, you guys are all triggering things for me now. Did something come back with her, like come out with her? I can't remember. Is that the first or second book?
Something started following her around?
Thank you, yeah. Something
came out of that world. What I remember is Yasna, like, I don't know, how did Yasna figure it out? I can't remember how Yasna figured it out.
She was drawing the shapes of the things that she could see out of the corner of her eye, and Yasna saw it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought she ended up telling her.
Yeah, no,
when she found out that she'd stolen, she ended up telling her.
After she told her that she had stolen it.
Yeah.
And she was like, poisoned by what's his face.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was trying to poison Yasna.
Yeah.
I forgot about
the jam. The jam.
Yes.
Oh, but didn't Jasna was onto her from the start?
Yeah, because she made.
That's why she took her on.
Yeah, and she made the jam gross.
She was onto her for a different reason, though. Yasna thought that she was with the guy who was trying to poison her.
And then she realized that she wasn't because she had the jam, and then
But the jam wasn't the poison. The bread wasn't. The bread was the poison. The
bread was the poison.
Oh,
yeah, the bread was the poison. The jam was the antidote. That's why he took a big finger of it and like shoved it in his mouth because
even though it was gross, because he was like, oh, I need to, because he knew that Shalon didn't like the jam, that she'd have the bread without it, and he was trying to get Yasna to eat. No, it was the other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah, it was the other way around. He thought that Yasna wouldn't eat the jam.
Yeah, because Yasna doesn't like jam.
And had someone? How did the jam get rotten in the first place? Something
Yasna had it wrong. She thought the jam was what was poison, so she made it all gross so that what's her name wouldn't eat it. And then, but she guessed wrong because it was actually the antidote and not the poison, and so she'd stuffed up. And
Because she didn't
was
know what strawberry jam tasted like. So when she transmuted it to take the poison out and try and leave the strawberry jam, she didn't know what strawberry jam actually tasted like. So it just came out as an estimation
and
of
then
what she thought it would taste
Shalon
like.
had already eaten some bread, but then she was like, "Oh, I don't want to eat this jam because it's disgusting." But the guy's like, "No, eat the jam anyway."
That's right. That's right.
And then she woke up and told Yasna that she'd taken she felt herself dying and told Yasna that she'd taken the Fabrial and that it wouldn't work.
Yes,
The transmuting of her
because she
blood.
was trying to fix her with the Fabrial, and she's like, "Well, that's not going to work. It's the broken one, and you need to save my life, so I should admit it."
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
I'm still thinking about that. How many people
and that's I think how it all
how many
came
people
out.
use Fabrials as magic and how many people have magic and just use Fabrials as a cover-up?
Well, the people that use them, if you remember, they're very secretive. Like, they'll come in and use it, but they'll be like, "We're going to put up this screen so no one can see what we're doing."
And they said that the brothers as well, is it not the brothers, but the
brotherhood or the priesthood or the monks or something,
They
really
seem to have a lot of them.
have most of them, if not all of them, and they were really mad that Yasna had one, and they were trying to get hers.
Yeah, they want,
especially
because she was unpious or something.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
She was a heretic.
Right. And Shalon's trying to like get her to believe. Remember?
Yes, she was trying to convert her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why she kept meeting with the priest and stuff, and she thought, oh, the priest just wants to meet with Yasna because he wants to convert her, when it was like, no, he actually wants to kill her.
Yeah.
Because he wanted the Fabrial.
Yeah.
Everyone wants this Fabrial. Everyone
and
thinks
they also wanted Yasna to stop doing her research.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the research, which was where the pins, like, what was that about again? Because I like that. That's my kind of jam. What was it about again? Because she was talking to Dalinar. They were back and forth about things. I think she was trying to research the old honor.
The Knight's Radiant was obsessed with the book, the Way of Kings, which is almost like a Bible of sorts. I think it has something to do with the original Knights of Radiance and the battle at the very beginning that they walked away from. Do you remember?
Yes.
They put down their armor and they walked away and said, "No, we're done." I think that's what that book has to do with. I think the old king was getting similar visions that Dalinar is getting. And so Yasna was actually going to research the book and Dalinar's visions and what they were telling her. And it led her on this whole, like, delve.
Yeah. And I think she also looking into the Pashendi?
Yes. 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 Oh, I just remembered a thing.
What?
Sorry. I just remembered the thing that's at the end of the third book. Sorry.
There's no help.
I know.
Bad.
I know, but I just remember. I'm like, it was like a big thing that happened at the end, and I'd totally forgotten about it. And I'm like, how did I forget about that?
It's hard not to spoiler the thing that happens at the very beginning of the next book.
I can't remember what that is. Now I'm gonna have to Wikipedia because you can't tell me.
No, I can't.
What's the second book called? Words of Radiant.
Yep.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Yep.
It's just they blend together because I listened to them literally all in a row on audio.
This is why I didn't do it, because I've had this happen to me before. And
I didn't even have the physical thing of like changing to a new actual book. I just clicked another file on audio, so it was like
only half of the first book.
I know.
You know. Yeah. Trying to find my spot on the audio after reading the book, and it had been a while since I'd read the book and got the audio, and trying to remember and find that spot in the middle again. That was hard.
I've just found some good notes on Tor.com, so I'm just seeing what else we've got here. Do you want to talk about Cell at all? Is there anything we to talk about?
I like how she learns. Starts off like a normal windspren, but then she talks, and most of them don't talk.
And it's my memory that she's actually not just a learner, but she's an old soul.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something going on.
Yeah, there is.
We don't learn what's going on in the books we've read, but you get the impression that something is going on.
Yeah.
You will find out, but
Yeah. I assume we will.
that I can't give. See, this is the hard part about having read ahead, because you can't speculate. Because you're like, well, I know.
I know, and I can't say anything.
I think I worked out what you're talking about, G, but I'm like,
You know, all you need to do is pick up your phone and send a Facebook message to G and be like, "Is this what you're talking about?"
I'm eating my dinner. I won't be able to reply.
nah, it's all right. I'll have forgotten anyway. I'm nearly finished my second glass of wine, so.
Oh yeah. So the whole thing. Remember, there's this whole kind of subtext thing where Delanar, the king, it turns out, is so obsessed with, like, someone's tried to kill me, and it turns out that he's actually staged his own assassination attempt.
Yes.
I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
I forgot about it too, and I was like, Jesus. And then that's why, I love this. Delanar then forced his nephew to admit that he had staged his own assassination attempt and to name him High Prince of War, while dropping on him the knowledge bomb that he had also tried to accept he's also decided to accept the advances of his mum.
And he did all that because of Sadius. Because Sadius betrayed them on the battlefield and left them there, left him and his son there, and ran away.
That's right, and that's why Bridge 4 came back for him.
Yeah.
Remember? That's the whole bit. That was such a great bit.
Yeah, because Bridge 4 was like, they had something injured that they were like, we're just going to be slow, because they were like, we're going to use this as our time to try and get away.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And then they were like,
and then he saw them trying to, like, escape and saw the other group.
And that's when Phil came back.
And he was like, we need to help them. We need to go in there and help them.
I forgot about that.
Did Phil talk
and I remember the plateau was kind of like this. Like, it was such a on such a lean. It was kind of cool. I kind of imagined them all kind of it was very cool.
I actually was able to picture that. I usually can't picture action very well, and I must admit, I remember us having the same conversation when we did the Mistborn books, that Sanderson writes action really well, that you can actually clearly picture what's happening, like if there's a fight going on.
Yeah.
Whereas not all authors can do that. Like, quite a lot of the time when I'm reading like a fight scene in a book, I'm just like, yep, I'm just kind of going to skim over this until I work out who wins, because it's just confusing in my head. Whereas the Sanderson books, I can picture it as I'm reading it.
I agree, but only because I remember the Mistborn.
And yeah, similar thing with these ones. I find that the action scenes I enjoy a lot more than I do in action scenes. Don't normally interest me all that much.
It's nice to know that it translates to audio.
Oh, I quite enjoyed the audio. I think you were annoyed by the audio a bit, Sarah. Were you saying something about the narrator that annoyed you?
No, it's not the narrator's fault. It was something Delanar just said all the frickin' time in the first half. And I posted up about it because it was like, I can't remember what I posted, but it was, is it in the...
I remember you talking about it in a hangout, and I remember being like, it's so long ago.
Perhaps.
I remember.
I know that Karina and I had real problems with the female speaker of this book. Like, we had to speed her up because
I think she's the same one that's reading the book that I'm listening to now, the Warbreaker one.
Yeah, like,
because I was like, this chick sounds really familiar.
She's just so like precise and like very clear with her words, and I just want to punch her. She has a punchable voice.
Punchable voice.
Yeah. So I remember what it was. I think it was. It was. You know, we did talk about this in another hangout where sometimes the writers don't find interesting ways of saying he says, she says.
Yes.
This was a case of Delanar saying the same thing at in response to every question he got asked, which I think was perhaps. And I just noticed it all the time. I was like, so what do you think about this? Oh, I'm thinking there was that, but that was what I remember going, oh my God, does the man have any other response?
Not the same narrator. I must be just going nuts.
No, it was, yeah, nothing to do with the narrator, but more to do with the writing. I was being so like careful and on the fence.
Oh,
no, I was thinking that the narrator who did the female voices, like the Yasna chapters, was the one that is doing the book I'm reading now, but it's not the same.
Is it not? Oh, okay.
But it was such a long time ago that I listened to it, and it's probably just because the voice, not the voice, the sound of the voice, but the writer's voice is similar. You know, because it's both Sanderson.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. Oh, so you remember? This is interesting. So do you remember the guy that Yasna and went to visit to get his granddaughter out of some rock wall that had fallen apart?
Yes.
Remember? And then it turns out, so this guy's Televangian. Grant. Turns out he's the one who's given the big list of people to assassinate to Sonson Balano, yeah,
something like that.
Yep, Seth. Anyway,
something like that.
And then and it turns out so because it says this apparently kindly philanthropic king turns out to be a powerful and dangerous force in It revealed that his hospitals were a front for a massive research project which slowly killed terminal patients in order to collect the mysterious words they sometimes write out in death, which is what precedes the first part. And it's this whole like, it's like this insight into their past and their gods, if you were. Yeah, I've completely forgotten
about him too. And he's in the other books. So it's like you would have thought I would remember, but no. Yeah. But he was really interesting because the whole time I'm like, he's this doddering old lovely king that's kind of benevolent and stuff.
And he's got this amazing healthcare system. And
holy shit, you're like totally evil, dude. You're like killing people just for the heck of it. Because, he's interesting. I forgot about him. See, this is the thing. Like, I listened to 3 of these books, and I'm still like, a major character that I kind of forgot about.
It's because it's 1,200 pages long.
I mean, like how many hours was it? Like, I mean,
45.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, am I reading that right, guys?
I really didn't. I didn't enjoy the Dalinar chapters in any of the books, and I'm like, oh God, just go away. I don't care. Even though his story is, important and fits in with the rest of it, I didn't enjoy him as a character as much as I liked Kaladin and Shalon and Yasna. So I was like, every time it was one of his chapters, I was like, oh, do we have to?
I like them, the ones during the high storms where he's hallucinating. Those ones.
So here we go.
Actually, I did too. But when he's like trying to be a politician and failing,
do you remember that scene? Do you remember that scene where he finds himself like the husband of like a peasant husband?
That was really good. That was really
good. And he had to like save his daughter, and he was trying to save her from these awful dog-like bat beasts. That was kind of scary. I was really scared. Mel, you would have hated it. You would have hated that scene because it's the kind of thing you would be,
And he's like, he knows he's not actually that character. He's like in a vision, but he's like, I can't even. It's so real that I can't even just. Yeah. He has to fight and do all the stuff, even though he knows he's in a vision and it's not really happening.
So it says here in the final vision, Dalinar learned that the voice that had been speaking to him was the voice of honor, who he had called the Almighty. It hadn't, however, been addressing him directly when it implied he should trust Sadeas. The messages were left for whomever was in the best position to unite the nations of Roshar against the Everstorm. I can't remember the Everstorm. And honor was dead, slain by Odium.
Yes.
Who the fuck was Odium again? Like, we met him in the very first chapter, I'm pretty sure. Like, that 104,500 years ago. What was the Everstorm? Is the Everstorm like something that's coming one day? Can you remember?
Yep.
Yes. You do find out more about the Everstorm.
Yeah.
It gives me the whole vibe of winter is coming. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the Everstorm
Eventually.
reminded me of is the Nothing from Neverending Story.
Yes, that's a good point.
There was
And
a
now I've got the
name.
Neverending Story song in my head.
Have you read the book?
Yes.
No,
I read it.
I haven't.
Good. Oh, it's well worth the read.
Yeah.
Well worth the
I
read.
so want to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that will turn around.
There you go, Jasmine. There's an idea for a pick.
Yeah. The first
Oh.
movie's pretty faithful, but don't watch any of the others. They're not faithful and they don't do the good bits.
I don't remember
I
any of
like
the
the
others.
second one though. I did like the second movie.
What happens in the second movie? Because I'm sure I've seen it. But
It's the
I don't know.
queen with the wishes and the heart. Like, I think I just like
Never
told the
ending
whole
story. Matt,
That's
you reckon
it, that's the
the
whole movie.
second never-ending story?
There's actually like, I'm not kidding you guys. There's like 4 or 5 movies. Hey,
Yeah, but as I said, the first
What?
one's
Did you
really
say
good.
one
It's
Netflix?
very faithful. It's
There's one with-
it's the Germans, and they're pretty good. And then it kind of all went American, and then they just lost sight of the original material, in my opinion. Having read the book and loved the book.
Yes,
I
but
didn't really-
if I remember correctly, there was an awful lot more in the book.
Oh, that's it, right? And I didn't realize until I read the book that the first movie is only up to like the end of the first part, and then there's this whole other part with
They
Sebastian.
only have number 2.
I'm gonna add that to my
Oh,
wish list.
okay. So Netflix has
Christmas.
Never-ending Story 2, but not Never-ending Story
Which
1.
I think has
Awesome.
Jonathan Brandis in it.
Oh, it does too. I have seen that.
Sadly, do you know that he committed suicide?
Oh,
Yes, I did know that because I had a crush on him. And I was
That's
very
what,
sad.
that's what Sarah just said. That's what Sarah just said. You should
But
just
it's not
be in
just
the
they just
hangout.
died.
Matt.
Like it's one of those things that people just, it's so awful, mental illness, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, baby girl.
I loved John. He was my
Sequest
like
CSV.
yeah, because I loved Sequest.
Yeah.
When I was like 15 or 14 or something, he was like my big crush. I loved him.
Oh my god, I nearly died.
Hello, pussycat. Pussycat. Where's the pussycat gone? Where's the pussycat?
Hi, kitty.
I need to chase my cat.
Can I see the pussycat? Hello. Hi. My cat would not let me do that.
Not today. It's too hot
Hi,
to be picked
Jessie.
up. I just want to stretch across the bed.
I don't
Yeah.
blame them. I wouldn't want to either.
Do you know the moose? My cat's called the moose, Barbara. The moose refuses like to sleep with us at night because we have the aircon on, so it's too cold for him. He fucks off
Isn't that like
up
when they
here,
want to
where it's
cuddle?
like 35 degrees and sacks out on the floor. And he spends outside 35 degrees. And he spends his days outside on the stones. I'm like,
Ooh. No,
he loves
ours
the
are
heat.
like
That cat loves the heat.
ours at the moment have decided they'll just sleep at the foot of the bed between our feet because it's too hot to be anywhere else, and then they'll just they'll just stretch out across the bed for the whole day in front of the fan. It's too hot.
Yeah. And consequently, it means in the winter it's too cold for him, so I invariably get like a nose and a paw, and I have to lift up the sheets, and he goes under.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jessie goes under, but she goes between my boobs, so that sounds awful. But she'll sleep right on
Why
my
is that
arm.
awful?
The cat would do that.
Good places to be.
Like
right here,
right
just
near
kind
my
of
heart.
right under
Like,
the
like,
bed. Or
yeah,
just-
she spoons
like
me.
Yep.
Moose
like
has
it's a very
certain
rude.
places he
Right.
likes to be. It's either behind the knees or kind of like, you know, like I'm pregnant with him.
Oh, cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
kicked her off a few times. And she sleeps by my feet. So that's probably why it's a safe zone. She's like, right, this bitch isn't going to kick me off. If I sleep right here, but it triggers my hay fever. Are we still talking about the book? Or are we
Yeah, I
I
was
was
just going to
just
say there were
thinking that.
there
We
was,
got distracted by the cat and the camera. We can go back.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think I might be like
Drunk?
talked out and yes. Well, that's
Drunk.
pretty obvious. But I mean, I
Pardon me.
don't know whether I can continue talking without accidentally spoiling everything.
yeah.
So
There was one other interlude that, so we talked about a couple of the interludes. We talked about the fishing guys. We talked about the woman who was learning to be a merchant. I really enjoyed that interlude.
yeah, I like
There
her
was-
too.
There was another interlude that I really liked, which I'm hoping he'll come back.
The Slidey girl.
What?
No, okay, sorry.
Okay.
I told you, I can't talk.
Okay. So the other interlude that I really liked was
She's not in the first book. How is that possible?
is the scene where we meet this guy who's been thrown in jail because he got drunk or something, and it turns out he's this immortal who's studying Spren. Does anyone else remember that?
No.
Oh, I love that. He was great.
I kind of
liked
thought
his
that might
character.
have been Wit.
No, he had a name, but maybe he'll come back as Wit. Where is it? He had a name.
Did we touch onto the topic of before the? Hang on, trying to find.
There he is. His name is Axius the Collector. He's a Shan Amian engaged in a quest to catalogue all the different varieties of Spren on Roshar. He is virtually immortal due to an interaction with magic. You guys remember that?
Mm.
Anyway,
I wonder how many he's got.
He'd been mugged or something when he was drunk, and they thought they had killed him, but actually he was all kinds of alive. And then there was that other scene with Baxiel, who was a thief of a moody nationality, and he and a beautiful light-eyed woman break into places to destroy artwork. That was a weird scene. Do you remember that? I was like, what the hell is going on?
Just for the fun of it.
Yeah, it was odd.
They couldn't have beautiful things or something.
What wasn't there one about a shoemaker?
Yeah.
He was like making shoes for this homeless kid. No, is that in the next one?
No.
Yeah.
Get drunk, Kirsten, go home.
But honestly, it's blurring together. I'm like,
I did like that one too, though. That
seems
was really
like
good.
so long ago. It has to.
And the final one that I really liked was Durrani. She was a scientist and philosopher, and she and her both partner and science partner, they live on a small island and they're studying as friend. And I remember this bit because she said when she tried not measuring them, they would be one thing, but when you looked at them directly, they changed. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, because that made me think of.
I laughed because that's what.
It was 3 years ago since I read this book.
Oh, okay. And then that's what I was watching SciShow, and they were talking about something that they're looking at.
The Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
But there's something they're going. It changes when you when you look at it to try and it changes.
So there's an experiment. It's in Brief History of Time. So there's basically this experiment where it's a slit experiment. So they have light going through two slits, and it makes an interference pattern on the back of this thing where it's like it makes like kind of like bars of light, right?
Yeah.
But if you measure the photons as they're going through, it makes a completely different interference pattern, like where it's more bright in the middle and it fades out at the edges. And the only thing different is that you are observing it. And if it's not, like if you're observing which slit the photon goes through, it acts like it's going through one or the other. Whereas if you don't observe it, it acts like it's a wave. And so it's like the wave/particle.
Duality.
Duality. So a photon, which is like a packet of light, can act like a particle or it can act like a wave. And it depends on whether we observe it, which way it acts. Which I think is like really freaking awesome.
Thing. Yeah, and I thought that was like the Spren thing, which I was reading. I was like, ooh, like, you know.
I wonder whether he's kind of thought of that,
I would say so, considering, like, I'd only just learned about the whole photon thing recently, and I was like, it seems, I read that, because that was a standout scene for me. So,
did we talk about the, was it Kaladin's father that, you know how at the start of each...
Oh, the doctor who stole the things? Who stole stuff?
But, so he would write down what they would say before they die, the victims. Not the victims, but his the people that obviously were dying of sickness or whatever. Is that right?
I thought that was the king that was doing that.
That was the king capturing all of that.
Oh, I thought it was the doctor. I thought it was Kaladin's father that did it.
No.
So he'd write down what the people's last words were, and it was always about, not always, but about the Stormfather and stuff. And the storm comes and stuff. So I thought that was really cool, and that kind of kept, like, was just a bit, I don't know, what would you call that?
God, I looked up characters to try and remember, and there's like 50 million on this page. Like, seriously.
It's 1,200 pages long.
What?
God,
does
but
that
can't
mean?
the Wikipedia like focus on the ones that are important? Because Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
there's
they do.
475
Which-
in this
okay,
page in the
Yeah, but which
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia are you in? If you just
No,
go to the
it's not.
official one,
No,
it
it's not
has-
Wikipedia. It's a Stormlight Archive wiki.
there you go.
It's
So
not-
that's going to do the thing. If you go to the, then they give you the main
Oh,
ones, and then they have the
God.
interludes. See, kind of helps.
Oh, but I'm trying to remember who's who, and then it's like there's 145. I don't have time for this. Okay, I'm going to go to actual Wikipedia. That might actually... No, I came from there, and I was like, you haven't got characters. I need to Google characters.
Yeah, they do. That's called main, the viewpoint characters, and then there's main, and then under
I
there.
think I'm in the Stormlight Archive one, not in the Words of Rain, the Way of Kings
Well,
one.
there you go.
I'm trying to figure out which whether a character is from which book, like whether I'm allowed to talk about people.
Hang on.
Ooh, thank you, whoever's posting. Thanks, Matt.
What's Matt?
I don't think he can hear.
Oh,
Sarah said thanks. He gave a thumbs up. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
He's posted something in chat. There's chat discussion going on.
Oh, I'm trying to look at Wikipedia to try and figure out who that chick was.
Stay focused. It's all good.
Can I, because my memory's fuzzy, why was the king writing down everyone's last words? Was he just kind of, was it like, because he was a prophet as well as his brother?
I think that's in the, I think that's like in book 3. Or
it
book
wasn't
2.
revealed because you just found out via Zeth that you found that out, but he didn't say why.
Yeah, it is
just
explained,
seems
but
like
it's not in this book.
And was Jasna documenting everything?
She was researching stuff.
But was she
and
like?
She was
like he
trying to
was
find
writing
out
down
what her father was on about, basically, before he died.
Yeah, because she was was it a heretic, whatever it was?
Yeah, because
so she didn't believe everyone's she didn't believe the bullshit that was laid out before her. You know, she wanted to find the truth. I'll cook one then.
Oh my god.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Oh,
Well done.
okay. Cool.
Some of this is the problem with doing these things in audiobook, isn't it?
the big one of the that's the other issue I'm having is like because I audiobook it, I
I
can't like pick up the book and
It's
flip
annoying,
through
Matt.
and remember and
Yeah. You can't mark pages easily and stuff.
oh, Matt's sending you stuff about quantum physics.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I'm responding to. So it's
We have a very fragmented conversation going on.
yeah, we're probably. I mean,
Oh, is this
I think we're pretty
the
much
guy
done.
from Space Time? Yeah, he watches this Space Time thing on YouTube all the time, and I'm sitting there going, I'm really, really stupid. Every time he watches it, I'm just like, yep, I'm just so dumb. I just because it's just so over my head that I'm like, I'm understanding like every third word that this dude is saying, and it's just. And I read Brief History of Time, and I've read books on quantum physics, and I'm still like, no idea what you're talking about, mate. I don't know whether
he doesn't break it down well.
No, it's just he's talking to an audience that knows physics, basically. Like he talks about things, presuming that you understand stuff from previous episodes and stuff, and I'm just like, even Matt a few times has gone, oh, I need to go back.
Like in the book, like we're pinpointing a
No, this was a sidetrack from my comment about the.
I was like, I know what you're talking about. No, yeah, I don't understand anything.
He has a different T-shirt in every episode, though.
But they're all so pulled out of shape and like, oh.
Because I'm always like, oh, that one's funny. Because they're always like punny kind of science joke.
Anyway,
like,
this conversation's breaking my head. It's there. It's here. It's.
Are
go
we
to
rapping?
YouTube and look up.
Are we
Space
rapping?
Time.
Are we rapping?
Are we rapping? Yes. Are we rapping?
Let's rap. I don't think anyone wants
Let's
to
rap.
listen to us anymore.
What
Sorry.
did we read? Brandon Sanderson. Why don't you make
Just
him
read some Brandon Sanderson. I highly recommend if you want to get into him and don't want to commit yourself to shitloads of sequels. I really enjoyed Elantris. And so far there's no sequels to that. And you
Is
can,
that the one I got
and it ends well enough that you could stop. Like you don't feel like you need to read the next one. Like he apparently is planning to write another one, but you wouldn't be compelled to read it. Like it's satisfying enough in the end to go, okay, I don't have to. I'd love to read more in this world, but I don't have to. And so if you're wanting to get into Sanderson and the idea of 3 55-hour audiobooks is not appealing to you, try Elantris because I really, really liked it.
Or if you want a series that's not quite as long, go Mistborn.
Except now there are 6 books with a 7th one about to be
but the third one finishes in a perfectly fine spot.
It does,
you don't need to
that's
go
true. It does, yes. And and that was what made me fall in love with Sanderson in the first place. So I definitely Mistborn is a good spot to start.
Okay. Anybody watching out there, including Kim? Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Good night.
Bye.
Nice.
Bye.